And very good morning. Welcome to the Saturday preview, coming to you at 12:15. Nice and early on a Friday morning. Had plenty of time to look at the Newmarket card, and there were one or two that I got my eye on at Market Rasen, and they've been declared as well. Loads of racing tomorrow. Probably a bit too much, really. Got Ripon and Chester and Haydock as well, all on the top of that. It's one of those days when your head's sort of spinning a bit. I'll be at Newmarket. I think I'm going to be working at Newmarket tomorrow. So if you're there and see me lurking around in either the ring or the rails, come and say hi. Great card at Newmarket, obviously. Kicking off at 1:50 with the Royal Lodge. An obvious enough favourite in Kamiko. After just getting touched off at Sandown, had 2 runs there. The form of its win over It's Good to Laugh on debut is okay. It's working out all right, not brilliant, but the positive form last time is better. I was sort of half tempted with Highland Chief, but I think I want a little bit more than 9-2 for Highland Chief. Won first time out at Newbury, beat Separate that day on soft ground, and then put in a really good effort against at Pinatubo at Royal Ascot in the Cheshire. Got beaten comprehensively. I mean, 4 lengths, but Pinatubo is Pinatubo. So, given what he's gone on and done since, that looks pretty good form. But been off for 98 days since, which is a slight concern to me. I think the form's decent. I think there's probably more to come from him. He'll definitely appreciate the step up to a mile. Breeding suggests he'll want middle distances next year. So the fact that he's stepping up from 7 to a mile is very much in his favour. But 9-2, I probably wanted a little bit more than that, I think. And perhaps I'm being greedy. There's a few in here that can't win, and you've all got the dead 8 if they stand up. But I just think I was looking for more sort of 6-1, 13-2 rather than 9-2. So I'm happy to set it out. If it wins, it wins. I do think there's a bet in the Cheveley Park though, and it's not raffle price because we don't put favourites up on the Saturday preview, or rarely anyway. Listen, raffle price has got, again, it's the one to beat. It's not. I'm not telling you anything there that you don't already know. Very impressive this season. Lost little in defeat to Earthlight on heavy ground last time. I just wonder now how much more there is to come from raffle price. Is that it now? Is she sort of topped out for the season? I don't know. I thought 11-10 she was short enough. I'm gonna take a chance on one here at a bigger price because for 2 reasons. One, although she's quite exposed, she is taking steps forward with each of her runs. I was quite taken with her at Salisbury last time. And 2, she will get this run to suit. I think there's an awful lot of pace in this race. However you sort of look at it, you've got horses here living in the past. Made all last time, Millsy. Another one that's made all, Moon of Love last time at Wolverhampton. Nina Ballerina's got bags of early pace. Nurse Barbara, another one, tried to make all at Leopardstown last time. There's a lot of early pace in this race, and I just wonder whether it might fall apart a little bit. And if it does, I think Dark Lady could be well positioned to take advantage. Won early season, won in July. It was only a little race at Lingfield, but won that well enough. But since then, every time it's just taking little steps forward in Group 3s. Second to Boomer at Goodwood is a good run, and then last time out got the better of Mill Isle, I should say, in a driving finish at Salisbury. And you watch that race back; she had a bit of trouble in running that day, and was really put her head down, wanted to win, which is always a good sign, I think. In a filly, decent speed figure as well, best form figure of the season so far. So there are reasons to suggest that despite the fact she's had 6 runs, she is still going forward, and she might not need that much more here. I think, yes, she's taking a step up, but she will, as I say, she will get this run to suit. The faster they go up front, the happier I think she'll be. And there is some 11 and 12 to 1 around, so I think she's an each way bet for me. Dark Lady in that second race. It's an open race, and so plenty got chances. But I'm going on the angle of there is a lot of pace up front. I think she'll be the one that might be best suited by it. And I'm having a bet in the Middle Park as well. I ought not to really, because if I'm having an each way bet here, I have to think that either Earthlight or Mum's Tipple is going to blow out here. because they take up so much of the market. I know you've got 9 runners, so you think it's a nice each way shape to the race, but I've made this point before. It isn't necessarily an each way race. If you think that Earthlight and Mum's Tipple are going to be in the front 2, and the chances are that one of them is going to win it, then you're playing for 1 place, and it's not necessarily a good each way race. Having said that, I can see one of the front 2 blowing out. I think they've both got something to prove. In the case of Earthlight, it might be the ground, which is quickening up all the time. I don't think there's a lot more rain due at Newmarket. It was very windy there yesterday and again today. And I think this will probably be some of the quickest ground that he's encountered so far. He'll probably handle it. There'll probably be enough juice, but there is that question mark. So, and with Mum's Tipple, it's a question of the form. Now, I know winning sales races by 11 lengths looks very, very good, but I can't help but think that 1 or 2 and behind probably didn't run their race that day. The speed figure backs up what you saw with your eyes. I mean, if you gave me £1,000, so you have to put that on 1 horse, it would probably be Mum's Tipple. But, 2 to 1, short enough for me. I'd rather have an each way bet, I think, on Golden Horde, who has got a bit to find here. Was around about 2.5 lengths behind Earthlight at Dover, but that was on heavy ground, which I'm not entirely sure Golden Horde wants. Back on better ground tomorrow might enable him to get a bit nearer. Before that, had beaten Threat at Goodwood. Beat Threat off level weights, absolutely fair and square in the Richmond. And I had 1 or 2 of these in behind, I think, that day as well. Or certainly 1 or 2 that's running on the card in behind that day. So I don't see, I can't for the life of me see why Golden Horde should be twice the price of Threat for a start. And I think, if we're saying Earthlight's a 7 to 4 chance, then I don't think Golden Horde can be 20 to 1 plus for this back on better ground. He hasn't got anywhere near as much to find on the figures as that price would have you believe. And I think from stall 8 as well, Adam Kirby's got a decent draw to work from here. I think he's got each way chances. I really do. I can see one of the front 2, not being in the frame, and as such that opens it up as an each way race. So I am going to have a small each way bet on Golden Horde against those front 2 in that middle part. Now we've got the Cambridge then. Now I've already written the Cambridge up this morning on the Daily Punt because it's such a big race, and you could spend half an hour talking about it on its own. So if you want my opinion on that, go to dailypunt.com. You'll have a look at the write up today. The 3 that I've gone with are Dark Vision, Another Touch, and I've had a very small each way bet on Al Jalabi as well, although I'm less keen on him than I am the other pair, I have to say. For all the reasons, as I say, please go to dailypunt.com and have a look at my write-up for today. I'm not going to go through the race again. It takes up too much time on these videos, and we've only got so much time. I think there's one other bet on the card, one other interesting one at Newmarket, and it's in the last race. It's a 7 furlong handicap, this, and it's full of your old favourites again. Firmament, Spanish City, we know all about. Gossiping's been around the block a bit. It's that sort of a race. And the one I like, the one that to me stands out head and shoulders. I don't know what price is going to be. I'm hoping something around about the 3 to 1, 7 to 2 mark. I think he'll be near the front of the market, but Vitralite's got a really good chance here on however you sort of slice and dice this. Only had the 4 runs, ran ever so well at York last time. Only just got beaten in the neck by Pogo in a big 16 field, big, wide open handicap. He's clearly improving very quickly, probably has more to come. Don't think the drop back to 7 is going to be any sort of an issue at all. And in a race where I was struggling to find much in the way of early pace again here, a lot of hold-up horses, Vitralite, who, has twice made all to win at Haydock and nearly made all at York last time, he's probably going to get his own way in front here. Still 7 gives Ben Curtis every chance of coming out and grabbing this favoured near side rail. Well, I think it's a favoured near side rail. We'll know more again after today, but certainly I don't think it's a bad thing. So I think Vitralite in that last race gets the run of the race, improving horse, improving 3-year-old, still looks well rated, more to come. There's a lot to like against horses that we know all about, and many of them now look right at the top end of their marks. I think he'll take a lot of beating. If there's anything around 3 to 1, I think that's probably a bet as well. 2 to mention at Market Rasen before we disappear. It's one of Rasen's big days tomorrow. They've got the Prelude there. It's the Prelude meeting, which used to take place in July. I think it was only about 2 weeks after the summer play, but for the last sort of 2 or 3 years they've moved the meeting effectively, and now have it as the Prelude. the jump season. I haven't got anything itself for the Prelude, the listed hurdle at 4 o'clock. Very, very difficult race. The more I sort of look at it, the more your sort of head spins. My old friend Gumball is in here, who, those of you who have known me for for a season or two now, been following me, will know how much I like Gumball. He really is a gorgeous individual. Didn't quite happen for him over hurdles that second season, but he's done really well on the flat earlier this year, and I'm hopeful that they can get him back on track if they can. And I think he's got a decent chance tomorrow. But look how competitive this is. You can make a case for so many of these. Jackamore was another one I was quite interested in as well in the race. Milton Harris, Kevin Jones on board, absolutely hacked up at Newton Abbot, and not for the first time either. When he beat the Flying Sofa at Wincanton in April, I think people wrote that off as a bit of a fluke. He went off a 33 chance that day. The Flying Sofa was heavily odds on, about a 3 on chance as I remember. But the form of that race, it isn't that bad, you know. The Flying Sofa has gone on and shown himself to be a sort of mid-120s animal. Back and forth that day was Chapman's Hype. He's done well for himself, and I'm sure there's more to come from the likes in behind there of Shillingsworth and Robley Park, definitely. There's more to come from them. So I believed that form at the time, and I certainly believe it now after the way that he thrashed Rococo River at Newton Abbot. You could call him the winner quite some way out, I thought. Handicappers give him a £10 boot for that and puts him on a marker 128. But if you're going back to the Wincanton form, as I say, he beat 2 horses that day. They're rated mid-120s, you know. So I don't think 128 is ceiling by any means, and there'll be more to come from him. So he's another one with a chance. I say it's just a very open race. I may have a second look at it when prices come out. We'll see. Let me give you the two that I thought were quite interesting. In the 250 handicap chase, Forever My Friend, who I've got marked down as wait for return to 2.5 miles. Surprise, surprise, we're back at 2.5 tomorrow in a decent enough contest, I thought. Last 2 runs, it's been over 3-2 at Newton Abbot, where it didn't stay. Weak in between last 2. Similarly at Cartmel last time, 3-1.5 in good to soft ground. Led to second, close up to a ridden and Wheaton, quickly 2 out. Just does not stay 3 miles. This horse doesn't stay. But those 2 runs have enabled it to get down from a mark of 115, dropped it to 112 at Cartmel, and again tomorrow gets another £5 drop, 107. If this horse is ever going to win a race again, it's going to be off this sort of a mark, and it's already a course and distance win. If you go back to 2015, 16, one or the other, I think he won on this card. I think I might be wrong about that, but he's certainly a course winner. James Bone back in the saddle tomorrow, taking over from Jack Tudor. I just think tomorrow's his day, and hopefully the price will be held up because there's a Dan Skelton horse in here, first run for the yard, Gars Bardine, who's had numerous goes. He's one of these, you know, it's another one that Dan picks up. I'm just trying to get the formula. 21 runs without a win. Lucinda Russell had a try with it at the end of last year, beginning of this year, and she couldn't get anything out of it either. And even after wind surgery, they got rid. So I you know, hopefully the price will be held up on Forever My Friend with Gars Bardine. People will sort of latch onto that Dan Skelton first time up angle. But the one I'd want to be with here definitely is Forever My Friend. Now that he's back at the right trip. The other one that's interesting, and it is only interesting at this stage, no more than that. I want to see what the prices are going to be. They could put Velvet Voice in this 435. I'm hoping firms make a bit of a cock up with this, because I'd have this. Let me put it this way: I'd be very careful with this if I was an odds compiler, because you've got a horse here who I made a little note of after it ran at Huntingdon in April. Finished 5th in the maiden hurdle that day. Not a great maiden hurdle. Don't get me wrong, it's not world beating form, but it ran all right that day. Finished midfield. And just sort of, I made it as a note of one that might do okay this time around. Needed a bit of time. Now, what I would say is then it was with Mark Tompkins, who was, it would be fair to say, struggling at the time. I don't think he's had a winner all year. He's packed up now, and I say he'd had about 40 odd horses and he hadn't had a winner all season. So clearly there was something not right in that yard. In fact, as our memory recalls, I think the dad mentioned of when Mark was doing his sort of exit interview for the Racing Post, he'd mentioned that a lot of the horses weren't right, and they were sick and had a virus and whatnot. Now, this horse has now been picked up by a trainer I rate very, very highly in Stuart Edmonds. Again, those of you that know me will know I'm constantly banging on about Stuart now. His horses are very underrated. Had a wind up since last being seen. Tongue Tie goes on for the first time. Kieran Gettins gets on board, which rather suggests that after he's had a break, they might have found what the problems are with this horse. And if they have, he's off a mark of 80. He's off a seller's mark tomorrow. Now, it's not a great race. It's quantity rather than quality. All I would suggest to you is watch the market with Velvet Voice. There's definitely races to be won with him with this yard. Is it tomorrow? As I say, keep an eye on the market when that comes out, and hopefully if somebody cocks it up and goes, you know, a ridiculous price about Velvet Voice, I should be taking advantage. Right, there we go. Loads, too many tips tomorrow, really. Probably a lot, and need to thin it down a bit. If you just want one tomorrow, I do think Vitrolite's going to take a lot of beating in that 525 at Newmarket. He looks the one sort of good win, solid win bet, I think, tomorrow. And the rest, as I say, there'll be some darts going in at big prices on some each way shots. See how we go. All right, guys, thanks very much for tuning in. I'll be back on Tuesday with the Daily Punt. Have a good weekend.